Hello, my name is Victoria. Today we are going to go through what we call a Turkish Get Up. Now this exercise is ideal for many different things. So we've got balance involved, coordination, and also a lot of core work as well. So that it's quite a challenging one. So if you are having difficulty with this one, it can be broken down into steps. So I'm going to show you today how to do the full exercise, and once you've become accustomed to it and I'm also going to break it down for you so that you can have bite-sized pieces so that you can practice it to pull it all together nice and neatly and have good form. So the first one, what we want to do is really make sure the whole time the core is engaged nice and tight. So you want to tuck that tailbone under here. You want to make sure that you're bringing your belly button up towards your rib cage and keep that nice and tight. Engaging the core is going to be able to work that core to another level. What we are going to do is use a kettlebell in this instance. So this one we've just got here. Alternatively, you can use a dumbbell. So if you prefer to use a dumbbell is what you can use as well. So whichever you feel more comfortable with. Now the difference between these two, if you are using a kettlebell, what you want to do is make sure that you take care of your wrist. So when you pick it up, you don't want to let your wrist sit in that position. So you want to hold your wrist quite firm so that your wrist stays flat. So you'll see the difference. I'll just show you with this hand as well so that you can see it clearly. So once you hold the horn of the kettlebell and pick it up, you want to actually squeeze your grip quite tight. Now what that does is it activates your forearms and all the extensors in your wrist, which gives you better stability to be able to hold it neatly. So once you grab the kettlebell, before you even pick it up, if you actually get your grip first and make sure your wrist is stable. So you don't want to pick it up and leave your wrist weak, because what will happen is it will not give you as much control over the kettlebell. For this particular movement, very, very, very important to have a lot of control over the kettlebell, because we're moving our body at the same time as keeping the kettlebell in one spot. So if that is too difficult for you to start with, you can instead use the dumbbell. And once again, you're watching your wrist position. So here, I always want to keep a nice flat wrist here, not like that. So make sure that you've got that nice and firm. And the easiest way to achieve that is by activating your grip. So if you hold the dumbbell quite lightly, then what happens is you don't have as much control over your extensors in your wrist and your forearm muscles. Whereas if you tighten that grip, once you squeeze onto the dumbbell and you tighten the grip, you'll notice straight away all those extensors go to work. So you can even see in the wrist, as soon as you tighten it, it starts getting stronger. So what we're going to do is I'll show you with the kettlebell first. You're going to come down, lay onto your back. Once you're on your back, I want to take this curve out of your spine. So you want to tuck that tailbone under, just like I showed you a moment ago. Keep it nice and flat. We're going to raise one knee up here, and we're going to make sure that we've got the right grip over the kettlebell. Now with this particular exercise, it's very, very important to pick a spot on the roof. So once you lift the kettlebell up, so I've got that straight above my shoulder, and what I want to do is hold it in that position throughout this whole movement. Now the way I'm going to be able to achieve that, because I'm going to be moving my body, the way I'm going to be able to achieve that is by using my eyes towards the horn of the kettlebell where I'm holding, and then direct my eyesight past that towards the roof. So once you pick a spot on the roof and line it up with the kettlebell, then you're going to hold it into that position and keep it towards that spot. Very important safety factor as well with this exercise. Always make sure that your eyes are on the kettlebell the whole time, from beginning to end. Do not take your eyes off the kettlebell for any reason, throughout this whole exercise. So you want to keep your eyes up towards the roof. First part of the exercise, you're going to sit up and bring the kettlebell up above your head. So as you come up, I've placed this hand out on an angle so that can support me as I do the movement. Now remember, keeping the eyesight on the roof. We're going to come up, keep the core nice and active to this position. Now once you're here, you've got that stability of that back hand, which is off on an angle. You're now going to activate the glutes, bring and leave the other foot on the ground. Bring your hips up. Then you can bring your foot underneath. And then you bring that up. Now you'll notice that I'm keeping my eyes on the kettlebell the whole time. If you take your eyes away from the kettlebell, you will not be able to control that movement. Let's come back down. We're coming back. Bring that leg back under. Bring those hips back down. And then back around. Keeping the core nice and tight. So breaking that down again. We're coming up. Keeping our eyes on that spot, aiming that kettlebell towards the roof. Hips up, glutes activated, core nice and tight. Leg under. Find your stability and then come up. Come back down. And back down. So, I'll show you that one on the other side so you can see both angles. Now with any of these videos that I put up, make sure you send me any questions. If you've got some questions about the exercises or what I'm going through, then please feel free to send me the questions and I'll be happy to help. So for this one, once again, picking another spot on the roof. So once you've got the kettlebell in the position that feels most comfortable and you feel nice and steady there. Now with this exercise, you don't want to rush through it. You want to make sure that you've got all the foundations set up nicely so that you can move through the exercise nice and neatly. So before I even think about coming up, I make sure that my core is engaged, that I'm nice and stable through the wrist, my extensors are on, my forearm is activated because my grip is nice and tight. I've got that spot on the roof that I'm looking at, so my eyesight is going from here, straight above, up onto the roof, and I'm not going to take my eyes off that spot on the roof. And I'm lining this up with that spot. That spot is going to stay the same throughout every step of this movement. So this one, having this arm out for support, coming up, onto your elbow, onto your hand, hips up, underneath, and up. And back down. So, that is the Turkish Get Up. Now, with the dumbbell, same sort of thing. I will show you with that one. If you're new to this exercise, I would recommend using a dumbbell if you've got the option of both of these pieces of equipment. I'd recommend starting off with a dumbbell before you go to the kettlebell, because the kettlebell is a little bit more awkward on your wrist. But once you master that and make sure that you're gripping nice and tight, then you'll be able to follow those steps through. So for this one, straight up, and you're holding it in this direction and you're keeping it up. It's up. Much easier with the dumbbell because it's a lot easier on the wrist. fantastic exercise to use for improving core strength and a number of different things. So it's a multiple exercise to benefit many different aspects of your workout. So it's great to add on to the end of your workout as a bit of a finisher, or if you wanted to master the skill and then go heavier within the weight that you're lifting. Obviously starting off quite light, and then as your skill improves, then you can then go on to improving that further and further. So I really thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure spending time with you. What I want to do is see you in the next video. So head on over to the next video and I will see you there in just a moment. So look out for it. It's in relation to a 10-minute leg workout. So get onto that. It only takes 10 minutes. So if you're short on time or you wanted to add an extra warm-up into your warm-up routine, it's a great way to fire up the legs, get them started and go from there. So I will see you over in that video in just a moment.